I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That I might have been given a bad break, but I've got an awful lot to live for.
My main ambition was to get along well enough with who I was playing with so that they would realize that there wasn't any friction because I was color and they were white. I mean, we could play together. I think that was my main ambition, was to break down that barrier, not so much for me to go to the major leagues. I just wanted somebody to go. I didn't care who it was.
Back and throws. There's a long back. I believe. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant. The Giants won the pennant.
Yeah, I knew it was gone all the way. All I kept saying was sink, sink, sink. All I remember is seeing Paff go up against the wall, and then I was walking to the clubhouse. All I kept saying was, why me, why me? Why did it have to be me?
On this sad day, I would like to address my thoughts to baseball fans everywhere. I am confident no one wants to strike, not the players, not the owners, and certainly not the fans. Yet we have one.
There's a drive into left field. That ball is going, and out of here. Henry Aaron has just tied Babe Ruth in the all-time home run parade.
You gotta start from way down the bottom when you're 6 or 7 years of age. You gotta let it grow up with you. And if you're successful and you try hard enough, you're bound to come out on top, just like these boys have come to the top now.
Welcome to the 1986 World Series. The Red Sox and Mets arrive here on the wings of remarkable playoff victories. Their triumphs over the Angels and Astros were unforgettable baseball theater. And now the final drama in 7 acts or less. Hello, everybody. I'm Bob Costas, and this will have the feel of a true fall classic. Game time temperature 50 degrees. It'll be in the mid-40s by game's end. The pitchers for the Red Sox, 28-year-old left-hander Bruce Hurst. For the Mets, the 26-year-old Yaley right-hander Ron Darling. Now, Hurst, is interesting to note, actually struck out more per inning pitched this year than his teammate Roger Clemens. Here's a guy who had an ERA under 3 despite being a left-hander pitching at Fenway Park in a DH league. As for Darling, he was 15-6, but he had 13 no decisions, and his team won 11 of those games, so he almost always pitched well enough to give his team a chance to win. And on this chilly night at Shea Stadium, there would be no exception to that rule. Darling did pitch well enough to win. He struck out 8 Red Sox, including batting champion Wade Boggs. Here's Vin Scully.
Well, Darling, who has had a high of 12 strikeouts, and he turned it in twice against the Dodgers, with throwing strikes, and he's had the edge against the hitter at almost every at-bat. 0-2. Got him. The Wade Boggs strikes out. He becomes strikeout victim number 3 for Darling, and the batter will be Marty Barrett. Marty, very tough man to strike out, only 31 times all year. However, Kirk McCaskill got him twice in one game in the LCS. He has 2 strikes and chased it.
That's the pitch he tries to guard against, but they got him this time.
Meanwhile, Red Sox starter Bruce Hurst was also humming along. Here he faces Darryl Strawberry.
And he is caught looking, and down he goes. 3 strikeouts for Bruce Hurst.
There was a case of using the slow curveball, throwing the forkball, and then that fastball that he says I can get by with a mediocre fastball. You can if the other 2 pitches will set it up for you, and that's exactly what he did there.
Hurst and Darling match zeros until the top half of the 7th. Then Jim Rice leads off for Boston and draws a walk. The next hitter is Red Sox right fielder Dwight Evans. Darling's pitch bounces away from Gary Carter, and Rice moves into scoring position with nobody out. Evans can't get him home as he grounds back to the mound, but Gedman is next.
Here is Rich Gedman, popped up and struck out against his old high school foe, and hits a ground ball right through Tuffle. Here comes Rice around third. The throw by Strawberry. He's in there. Down to second goes Gedman. And Tuffle was fooled by the bounce. And at home plate, a collision and timeout. Darling was going behind the plate to back up on the throw. And he arrived at the same time.
Jim Rice, it's his hand, it looks like, too, and Darling is down.
It was Henderson who was coming up. Henderson wanted to give a sign and crashed into Darling. Henderson, the on-deck hitter, number 40.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
He's the man who got hurt. And Darling was in the right place, but up against the wrong man. He was just trying to back up, and the on-deck hitter was trying to indicate slide or no slide, and you had a remarkable collision. And Henderson hurting that right hand and wrist. We'll see whether he can continue or not. Remember, Tony Armas has a bad ankle. Here's the play again. Watch. See, Henderson and Darling have already hit each other because Darling was in motion to get behind the plate, and Henderson was trying to get up there and indicate to Rice whether to slide or not. Boy, there's one for the books.
That is really a freaky play.
Meanwhile, Tuffle will draw an error, completely fooled on the erratic bounce. There's the collision. Now let's take a look at the ground ball, and you'll see what happened to Tuffle.
He's down there, just didn't come up. We talked about the possibility of the bad hops, and he was there in front of it. And the throw, it misses the cutoff man. That cost him a base, and the man who showed real disgust was Hernandez, the cutoff man. Because now 1 out, double play is not in order, a man in scoring position, so one error shows up and the other error will not show up in the box score, but that's a big base that Gedman was able to pick up.
Well, Henderson, who looks like the truck broke down on the way to the ballpark, is going to try and stay in there.
That was a freaky play.
I've never seen it.
Hurst leads for a pinch hitter in the top of the ninth. The Red Sox don't score, and Calvin Schiraldi tries to protect the lead.
The difference between the two teams, an unearned run. Got him, and the Red Sox have beaten the Mets in Game 1, 1-0.
The victory for Hurst, the save for Schiraldi, and as happened so often in '86, a tough luck loss for Ron Darling, this time on an unearned run. The next night at Shea for Game 2, the pitching matchup everyone has waited for. Clemens against Gooden. No score, top of the third. Red Sox with a man at first, nobody out, and Clemens in the unaccustomed position of trying to bat.
The last time, to our knowledge, that Roger Clemens swung a bat was in his junior year at the University of Texas. And you might be interested what his batting average was. He was not a big man on campus with the bat. Got the bunt down, but there's Hernandez, a one-hopper to Santana that gets away. A bad throw by Hernandez, and he didn't have to hurry it that much. And now the Red Sox are in business, first and second, and nobody out.
That's the thing that surprises you. Look at Hernandez. He knows he's going to get the bunt, and he's going to take it right away from Gooden. He should set himself, but he threw it on a run for some reason. A one-hopper that could not be handled, and he had plenty of time, so that really comes as a surprise, and he really has to be upset with himself.
That's such an easy play for a left-handed first baseman. There was no reason to jump in the air and throw, and now you can see his reaction to a bad play on his part.
Yep. He knew he made a bad play.
Now he has dug a hole. For his pitcher, first and second, nobody out. Boggs, Barrett, and Buckner coming up. 0-2 the count. Gooden with one strikeout. Got a bad play by Hernandez, so now he's struggling. And that's hit down the left field line. It is in there. Fair ball and going in the corner. In comes Owen. To third goes Clemens on a double by Boggs. And the Red Sox lead the Mets 1-0 in the third inning. And make no mistake about it, the atmosphere here in New York has changed dramatically from what it was before the start of the first game.
Watch him go with the pitch. He was going that way all along. He programs himself. There's the base hit. Fair by a couple feet.
1-0. And that's hit into right field, and that's a base hit. In comes Clemens holding at third. will be Boggs, and you have first and third, 2-0 Red Sox in the top of the third inning.
First and third for Bill Buckner, who hobbles to the plate in those high-top shoes. He drove home 102 runs during the regular season, but the Red Sox first baseman is really struggling with an excruciatingly painful ankle in the playoffs and World Series. But he's prepared to tack another one on against Gooden, and again, here's Vin.
Off speed, and it's hit into right field for the base hit. In comes Boggs. Stopping at second is Barrett, and for a slumping New York Mets team, they're down 3-0.
That slow curveball really surprises me because they had the gap between first and second, and it's really the one pitch that he can pull. Now, Hernandez kind of guarding that line, but it's in the hole. Boy, I would think they'd go with Smoke.
No, I'll tell you one thing about it, Joe. I do know that one of the scouting reports said if you throw changes and off-speed stuff to Buckner, he will hit a ground ball. And they're thinking of the double play, but instead he singled to right.
The Red Sox lead 3-0 in the last of the third, but the honeymoon is over for Clemens. Santana leads off with a single, and then...
The interesting now with Dwight Gooden, he's not a bad hitting pitcher at all. The National League, they like to keep the ball down on him. He is also a good bunter. He has sacrificed 13 times, and that's what they want him to do in the air. Off the glove of Buckner. He is not going to have a play.
He pushed that ball. He tried to make the catch, and when he saw himself falling, and they're certainly going to bunt it towards Buckner's way, it was not a good bunt, but perfect with the results.
And suddenly the Mets and their fans come alive on two infield singles, one off the glove of Clemens, and now the bunt to Buckner. And Davy Johnson rubbing his eyes, hoping the Mets will wake up offensively. Ground ball up the middle, base hit. In comes Santana, and they're going to hold Gooden at third. Bud Harrelson down the line to stop Dwight, and that will bring up the man whose error contributed so heavily in the top of the third, Keith Hernandez. Fastball hit off the leg of Clemens. Over to get it is Boggs. Off balance throw, got him. And a fine play by Wade Boggs. Scoring is Gooden. It is now Red Sox 3, Mets 2. Oh, what a wonderful play by Boggs to be able to react like that. And the first question is, Clemens all right? He took a lick.
And Boggs has to barehand that play. I tell you keep talking about his hitting, but he's worked hard on his fielding. And last night he made the play of the game, and he makes a beauty right here.
The Mets score twice in their half of the third and get Gooden back into it at 3-2. But the doctor simply doesn't have it on this night. Top half of the fourth, and Dave Henderson, a Red Sox playoff hero with his 5th game home run in Anaheim, steps up.
A towering smash into left center. Dykstra to the track, at the wall, gone. Hendu hits it out. And the Red Sox lead the Mets 4-2. And look at that fan holding onto his head.
And there's nothing that'll deflate a ball club and pick up your own club more than what just happened here. The Mets came back, and momentum is going with them, and now the first batter comes up. He says, hey, forget that momentum. I'm going to take it back, and he hits the home run, and you can see it on that Red Sox bench. He really answered the runs by the Mets with this tremendous home run. I mean, it was up there a long time. It could come down with some little ice caps on it.
Trailing 4-2 in the last of the fourth, Davy Johnson lets Gooden bat for himself. The Mets don't score, and with Gooden back on the mound in the top of the 5th, Rice leads off with a single. Now it's Evans.
And there's a drive into deep left field. Heap just watches this one, and it's going to go on the pavilion top, on the roof. And Dwight Gooden is not good enough tonight. It is 6-2 Boston in the 5th inning. And oh, did Dewey whack that one.
And the Red Sox hit parade would continue. Eventually, they'd win it 9-3 and hang the loss on Dwight Gooden. Unfortunately for Roger Clemens, he wasn't especially sharp on this night either. The dream pitching duel never really materialized. Clemens couldn't last the required 5 to get the victory. Steve Crawford succeeded him, and Bob Stanley finished up in the 9th facing Keith Hernandez.
High drive into deep center. Henderson digging to the track at the wall. He's got it. And that summed up the Mets all night. They've been a buck short, and the Red Sox, who were supposedly almost a 3-1 underdog team, have swept 2 in New York. They have sent Davy Johnson and the Mets back to the gloom.
John Updike called it a lyric little bandbox, and it's been home to the Red Sox since 1912, and without a World Championship banner since 1918. The Babe, Tris Speaker, and Jimmy Fox wore Red Sox uniforms here. From this mound, Lefty Grove pitched for Boston, and it was here that Ted Williams authored his .406 season in '41, and Yaz led the drive to an impossible dream pennant in '67. Here, 11 years ago tonight, Carlton Fisk's home run beat Cincinnati, and then 3 years later, a day of decision homer by Bucky Dent broke hearts all over New England. This is Fenway Park, and this is Game 3 of the 1986 World Series. Marking the return of Red Sox left-hander Bob Ojeda to Fenway Park as he tries to get the Mets back on track, and the first series appearance of Oil Can Boyd. The Can trying to give the Red Sox a stranglehold on the 1986 Classic. He could put them 3 up, but Len Dykstra, the Mets leadoff man, has other ideas.
1 ball, 1 strike. High drive down the right field line, hooking in the corner. If it's fair, it's gone. It's gone. Lenny Dykstra takes Oil Can deep, and the Mets lead 1-0.
That's the kind of thing a ball club needs to get picked up. They jump out 1 man, 1 run, and that whole ball club, you can see that Met bench is waiting for him.
That was the first extra base hit by the Mets in the World Series.
And oddly, lightning is struck not twice, but 3 times for the Mets at the beginning of the 3rd game of all 3 World Series in which they've appeared. Wally Backman is next, and the assault continues.
And there's a line drive base hit into right field. Sounded like the bat cracked at least. It didn't break, but Backman singles, and the batter now will be Keith Hernandez. And that's hit up the alley in left center. Going over to cut it off is Rice. Backman is not stopping, and he goes to 3rd. And the Mets are in business, 1st and 3rd, and nobody out, with Carter, Strawberry, and Knight coming up.
And John McNamara coming out of the Red Sox dugout. He knows that Oil Can Boyd has a history of early game troubles. And now the Can has allowed Davy Johnson's Mets to claim their first lead of the series. But McNamara also remembers that in Game 6 of the playoffs at Fenway against the Angels, Boyd was knocked around early, but then was able to gather himself and eventually get the victory. Now he tries to do the same as he faces Gary Carter.
0-1. And he hammers it to left center, and that's going for a base hit into the wall. Backman will score, Hernandez to 3rd, and Carter into 2nd with a double, and the Can is leaking in the 1st inning.
To be sure, he's faced 4 hitters allowing a homer, a pair of singles, and now Carter's double. 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. And here comes Strawberry, who so far has had a feast or famine postseason. A pair of big home runs in the playoffs against Houston, but he's also known his share of frustration, and he becomes the first out as Boyd fans him with a fastball right down the middle. Now 2nd and 3rd, 1 out, and here's Ray Knight.
0-1. Ground ball wide to 3rd. Boggs has a play at the plate. They've got Hernandez and Carter, and Boggs will throw to 3rd, and they'll now go after Carter. Owen now looks at 3rd. He's going to lose the play. Everybody's safe. Oh, did they mess it up?
I think that Gedman was the key to that play. There were 2 men at 3rd base. Carter and Hernandez were going back, and Gedman gave the ball to Boggs, and Boggs realized 2 men were on. You'll watch it here. Now Boggs makes the play, sizes it up perfectly. Now they've got him hung up. Now, Gedman hasn't hung up. Hernandez going back. He just runs him back. He's all right because Carter was right there. You can see that Owen starts to chase him back. And here's where they lose it. Right now, you ask for the salt and pepper, take a bite out of it.
I tell you, year in, year out, day in and day out, the biggest disappointment I think you get in watching big league teams, how often they mess up a rundown play. Hernandez, Carter, and Knight all out on the line. And there's a line drive base hit. That was an expensive mess up by the Red Sox. Carter will score with Hernandez. It is 4-0 New York. So Danny Heap, the designated hitter, lines to center to drive in two, and the Mets have gotten the drop on the Red Sox.
And taken some of the pressure off Bob Ojeda. The former Boston left-hander freely admitted before the game that he didn't always feel so comfortable when pitching at Fenway in the past. But now he's been staked to a 4-0 lead, and he's got his good stuff, catching Jim Rice looking to open the last half of the second. Yeah, Jim, it was in there. The next Red Sox hitter is Don Baylor, and that's noteworthy because with the designated hitter rule not in effect in the National League Park in this World Series, it's Baylor's first plate appearance of the Fall Classic. After a rousing ovation from the Boston fans, Baylor prepares to make his first swing count against Ojeda.
And that's hammered to left field, high and deep and off the wall. Mookie Wilson playing it into second base, and Baylor's in there with a double.
But as it turned out, it would be the only extra base hit Ojeda would allow all night. And Baylor's Boston mates couldn't get him home from second base. They did manage a run against Ojeda in the third, but that was all. The Mets threw two more on the board in the seventh, another in the eighth, and now with Gedman at the plate and two out in the ninth, Roger McDowell finishes up.
A hopper to second base. Backman cranks it up. And let's put it this way tonight, the wall, the green monster, did not figure in the game at all as the Mets beat the Red Sox 7-1.
On to game four. Ron Darling back on 3 days rest for the Mets, and a calculated risk by Red Sox manager John McNamara, starting Al Nipper, only his fifth best starter during the season. The idea is to get a little extra rest for Bruce Hurst, who'll start game 5, and Roger Clemens scheduled to go in game 6. Meanwhile, against Darling, who pitched so well in the opener, the Red Sox load the bases with 2 outs in the bottom half of the first. The hitter is Dwight Evans.
Little ground ball down to Santana. He shovels to Backman, and the inning is over, and the Red Sox come up empty. A cluster of balloons suddenly appears with the sign, "Go Sox," and that'll hang over the infield for a while.
Pitching scoreless ball until the fourth, Nipper comes down to earth a little bit as Backman leads off.
Shot up the middle. Deflected by the glove and the mound. Slowed out into center field, and Backman holding.
After Keith Hernandez is retired on a ground out, Gary Carter gets his chance against Nipper.
Fastball. High drive into left field. Rice is looking up. She is gone. Home run, Carter. Now that's the art of hitting. He says to himself, the pitcher struck me out on a curve. Is he going to come back with the curve? And Nipper thinks he's probably looking curve. I'll give him a fastball. Strawberry, he goes the other way with that outside pitch, and this time it pays off. By the time Rice plays it off the wall, Darrell is to second base with a double, so he's learned. Remember in the second inning, he tried to pull the outside pitch and rolled it to Barrett. This time he went with it.
Carter's home run ball nestled in the screen is a reminder of the difficulties Al Nipper has already endured. Ray Knight will make him pay some more.
And line drive to center, base hit. Henderson is charging. Strawberry being waved. The throw cut off by Buckner. So Strawberry is in. It's 3-0 Mets, and Ray Knight holding at first base. So Knight is 2 for 2 with an RBI.
And here's Darling, who grew up near Boston as a Red Sox fan. Just a few innings away from evening the series. With the 3-0 lead, he works to Dave Henderson in the 5th.
Fastball got him looking. So he was looking for the pitch that he had struck out on, the curveball, and he was left gazing at the Express.
Still 3-0 in the 6th, and Gary Carter, who's found Fenway Park to his liking thus far, leads off against Nipper.
2-2. Little pop fly back of first. Tough play for Buckner on the bad leg, and it's going to land. And Carter's going to leg it for 2 as Evan has to throw the ball back in. And Gary's in there with a fist double to right field.
He was fooled on that pitch. It was a breaking ball. You could see at the very last minute he just kind of snapped at it, and he didn't really drive that ball. And Carter, when he's up there, I mean, he follows that ball all the way. Take a look at his eyes. Now, they'll open up when that ball gets close. Look at that. Like somebody put a quarter in his nose. Look at those eyes open up. Good hitters do that.
A modest thing and thine own. A little blooper the other way. In the box score, it's a double. And the batter will be Darryl Strawberry. Evans never had a chance to make a play on him.
And Carter wasn't going to take any chances. He went in head first.
Landing gear down.
Darryl Strawberry then flies out. Carter tags and advances to 3rd. Up steps Ray Knight with 1 gone.
Fastball, whack to left. Rice handles it, and Carter is going to come anyway. The throw, he is out at the plate.
He broke back to third base, and Rice was able to play shallow and make that play. Rice really didn't get rid of that ball that well. I mean, he had a little trouble gripping it, but I think one thing that helped was Carter kind of broke in. There are a couple of things that made the play for the Red Sox. One thing, Rice is in shallow, and as soon as that ball's hit, Carter is off the back. Now he goes back, but it's too late. And Rice, playing shallow, gets off a throw all the way on a fly to Gedman, and Gedman forces Carter to slide in. He's almost closer to first base than he is to plate. Now he tries to tag it, but it's too late.
I can't believe he would try to come in on a line drive to shallow left field. Gedman stayed right with him as he tried to hook inside and avoid the tag. But Gary really made an error of judgment. Harrelson had nothing to do with that. Carter looked at the left fielder, and he made the decision to go.
So the Mets are burned by Carter's base-running mistake, but in the bottom half of the 6th, trailing 3-0 with Dwight Evans aboard and 2 out, the Red Sox catcher returns the favor.
Fastball hit down the left field line. That's going to be against the wall. Mookie plays the bounce. Into 3rd goes Evans. A throw to 2nd, and they got Gedman. And both catchers have run themselves out of an inning. Where Gedman was going, they shot him down. No runs, 1 hit, a man left. At the end of 6, 3-0 New York.
To the top of the 7th, and with 1 out, switch hitter Mookie Wilson to the plate. Steve Crawford on the mound for Boston in relief of Al Nipper. And Wilson bounces one over Crawford's head and by the lunging Spike Owen into center field for a base hit. That brings up Lenny Dykstra, who had a home run in Game 3 and has turned into a long ball threat throughout the playoffs and series.
High fly ball into pretty deep right field. Back goes Evans on the track at the wall. Leaps, he can't get it. Home run for Dykstra. And what a picture Evans paints in right field.
He got that ball inside. He got the other one outside. He missed the strike, and he gets this one inside, and the little guy just turns on it and pumps it into the seats.
Lenny Dykstra, who inspired the Mets with a first-inning home run last night. And all you really have to do is look at Dwight Evans for the whole story. It's worth more than 1,000 words.
You got a glove on it.
Now look. There it is. That's the picture. Well, what goes around comes around. All you have to do is think back. Anaheim Stadium in Southern California. Dave Henderson, Bobby Grich, the long drive to center. Henderson getting his glove on it and spilling it over. And now Evans is hit by the same thunderbolt, and it's 5-0 New York.
Top of the 8th, and the rich get richer. Here's Carter, who's already doubled and homered.
And he's hit another one. A towering smash. Rice never even moved. Curveball. And that one went over the screen. That landed on Lansdowne Street. So Gary Carter's second home run tonight and the third home run for the Mets. And it is 6-0 New York. Oh, was that big hit?
Was it Rice? It was like somebody had poured concrete and made him a statue. He never even moved. It's a breaking ball. And you talk about hitting it a long way. He fouled off the fastball, the curveball, a high towering drive. No netting going to stop that.
Look out, cars. Out into the Boston night.
6-0 New York as Carter embraces with Lee Mazzilli in the dugout. Darling works 7 strong shutout innings before giving way to Orozco in the 8th. Jesse's touched up for a pair of Boston runs, but it makes little difference. Here he is a strike away from finishing it for Darling.
And he chased the sinker, down he goes, and that's that. As Orozco strikes out Rice, and the Mets have caught the Red Sox at Fenway Park, and the series is tied 2 games apiece.
And the strange pattern continues as the home team, through 4 games, is yet to win one. The 5th is also played in Boston, and the pitching matchup, Dwight Gooden hit hard by the Red Sox in Game 2 at Shea against Bruce Hurst, a 1-0 winner in the opener in New York. As they did in the 4th game, the Red Sox load the bases, this time against Gooden, with 2 out in the last of the 1st. And as was the case in Game 4, the hitter is Evans as the Red Sox try to get on the board early.
And as a high fly ball to left, Mookie has a play. And the Sox begin the night on a sour note as they strand 3.
But for Gooden, the reprieve is only temporary. In the postseason, Gooden would make 4 starts. He'd go 0-3 with a no decision thrown in. In truth, against Houston in the playoffs, he'd pitched well, but in tough luck. In the series, he simply didn't have it. Here's Henderson in the 2nd.
Fastball whacked into right center, base hit. A late break for Strawberry, and he can't pick it up. Dykstra falls down. Henderson for 3. He is in there. Strawberry had no jump on the ball at all, and then when he got there, he missed the ground ball. Dykstra fell down trying to retrieve. It will go as a triple for Dave Henderson. It should have been cut off as a double.
Dykstra just slips, and he can't come up with it, and that's about the time that Henderson was at second base, and he shifted into what for him was high gear, and he goes into third base.
Interesting now with Spike Owen at the plate. Keith Hernandez is up, Tim Tuffle is up, Knight is up, and Santana is halfway. But with 1 out in the 2nd inning, Davey Johnson playing the infield out. Lifted to left field. That should be deep enough. Let's see. Mookie for the catch. Henderson coming to Carter. Too late.
They're going to run on Mookie Wilson's arm. You can see he was back there ready to go, and it's not close at all.
The Red Sox add another run in the 3rd on an error by Met shortstop Rafael Santana, a walk to Rice, and an RBI single by Evans. Now in the 5th, Rice is the leadoff man.
Curveball hit in the air, and Dykstra on his horse, and the wind is blowing it in off against the bullpen. Rice is on his way to third, and Strawberry's throw not in time. A wind-blown triple that was almost a home run.
You could really see it tail off to the right, almost like in golf it would be a slice. It's a high towering drive. The wind gets it. It would be drifting away anyhow, but the wind really takes it away from Dykstra, and it's just a foot or so from a home run.
1-0. And that's looped into right field. Base hit and the run.
Tried to jam him with the fastball.
But Dwight Gooden, who trailed 4-2 and 6-2 and had to go out. Jim Rice hollering encouragement out of the dugout. And Baylor standing at first, a modest thing and thine own. A bloop single to right for the RBI.
He's giving a needle to Baylor because he got jammed on that pitch. He just fisted it over there. That's what he's doing. He's sticking a needle in Baylor.
Now with Baylor aboard, the next hitter is Evans. And Gooden's woes continue.
Baylor going. And a ground ball to the hole. Base hit into left field. And Baylor on his way to third, and Mookie throws it back into second. There's still nobody out. Well, they're going to bring in Sid Fernandez, and I'll tell you what, you've got to figure the Mets are in a lot of trouble. They are trailing 3-0 in the fifth. Johnson is bringing in a man he did not want to use at Fenway Park, Sid Fernandez, and Game 6, they go against Roger Clemens. 3-0 Boston trying for more in the fifth inning. A shot by the inside of Ray Knight and in the corner. Baylor scores. Evans to third. Into second goes Henderson. 4-0 Boston.
Johnson's Mets trail 4-0, and Hurst is cruising. Here in the sixth, the struggling Strawberry takes a called third strike, though he disagrees with the call by plate umpire Ed Montague.
Got him.
Following a heated argument, Strawberry is the target of some jeers from the Fenway fans. But many of the boos turn to cheers after the straw man offers this response. Now to the ninth, and Dykstra is the Mets' last hope.
Fastball high, and he chased it again.
The Mets had managed a solo run in the eighth on a Tim Tuffle home run and another one in the ninth, but the final with Hurst going the distance, 4-2 Red Sox, as the home team finally wins a game in this World Series. Now back to Shea for Game 6. A well-rested Roger Clemens for Boston. Bob Ojeda for New York. The Red Sox need one win for their first World Championship since 1918. They get single runs off Ojeda in the first and second, but the Mets score twice off Clemens to tie the game in the fifth. Now in the top of the seventh, one out, Marty Barrett at second base, and Jim Rice at the plate against Met reliever Roger McDowell.
Roller to third. Knight charging. High throw off Hernandez's glove, and over to third goes Barrett. A routine play gets away by Ray Knight. Just a slow roller against a slow runner. He had plenty of time, and he threw it away.
You'll see it. Nothing tough about it.
And not only does he lose Rice, but since it's such a bad throw, he allows Barrett to get over to third. And now the Mets have a problem. It is indeed strength against strength. They're going to have a sinker ball pitcher against a low ball hitter, Dwight Evans.
That ball just sailed right up and over Hernandez's glove.
So we'll watch Rice at first. Barrett at third, 1 out, 3-2 to Evans, 2-2 in the 7th inning. Rice goes. Sinker is hit down to second. They can't get the double play. Safe at second, out at first. And the run is in. So that was the big play. Do you turn Rice loose or don't you? If he's not going, they get the double play. But he was going, and he was not only there, but safe. And the run is in. So the error gets even larger. Otherwise, the inning is over.
He got the sinker in a good spot, and then you see Rice sliding in safe, and it's a decision that'll get lost in the box score. But McNamara, if it's a strikeout, it's a throw him out, but he makes the move, lets Rice start, and gets the big run. Watch Barrett scoring the tie-breaking run.
Just as Ray Knight is being fitted for the Goat Horns, the Mets come to life once more. They trail 3-2 entering the last half of the 8th. Calvin Schiraldi has come out of the bullpen for Boston. Off Davey Johnson's bench comes Lee Mazzilli, rescued from the Pirates late in the season for a second tour of duty with the Mets, and he's about to deliver a timely pinch hit.
Fastball pulled to the hole. Base hit into right field for Mazzilli. The tying run is aboard.
Now here's Dykstra in a sacrifice situation.
There's the bunt. Schiraldi's going to go to second in the dirt. Everybody's safe.
Wally Backman then moves the runners along with a successful sacrifice. Keith Hernandez is walked intentionally, and it's Carter with the bases loaded and 1 out. The count goes to 3-0, and Davey Johnson gives him the green light.
Swung on and lined to left, right at Rice. Tagging up is Mazzilli to score, and down to third goes Dykstra. It's a brand new ball game.
That's it for the Mets in the 8th, and in the top half of the 9th, the Red Sox don't score either. John McNamara looks on as Ray Knight leads off in the last of the 9th, and Schiraldi walks him. Now it's Mookie Wilson in another obvious sacrifice spot.
The bunt, out to get it is Gedman, and close, not in time. And we have our first argument of the series. He was on the bag, John said. You can't blow that call. On that blast bag. Why? You couldn't have seen it, John said. Here it is again. You be the judge. What the Red Sox contention was to Jim Evans, you couldn't have seen that Owens was on the bag. And Jim Evans said, I saw it. And the Sox said you couldn't have seen it if you called him safe. Apparently they wanted Evans to talk to another umpire. Here's the play. You can see him coming off the bag. So Jim Evans was right there to call it. And now the Mets have first and second and nobody out in the bottom of the ninth in a tied-up game.
Howard Johnson is sent up to bat for rookie shortstop Kevin Elster. After failing once on an attempted bunt, he gets the hit sign.
Ground ball foul to Bill Robinson. Surprising. They have Hojo up there swinging. Bottom of the ninth and nobody out. And you have a left-hand hitter, Mazzilli, on deck. Then another left-hand hitter, Dykstra and Backman. So Davies roll the dice with Howard Johnson. 1-2. Foul tipped. He struck out. On a check swing that ticked the bat, Johnson strikes out. One very big out.
And then two more as both Mazzilli and Dykstra fly to left. To extra innings tied at 3. Orozco and McDowell have already been used, so Dave Johnson turns to Rick Aguilera. The first man he faces is Dave Henderson.
And a drive to left. Going back on it is Mookie Wilson, and this one is gone. Henderson has done it again. And a note on Rick Aguilera. He gives up the most home runs on the staff.
It looked like a fastball, and there you see Roger Clemens, and look at this bench.
And it is 4-3 Red Sox on the lightning-like home run of Dave Henderson.
Now, 2 outs later, following a Wade Boggs double, Marty Barrett, the series' hottest hitter, steps up.
And it's hit into center, base hit. Dykstra charging. Here comes Boggs. He will score. The throw backed up by Aguilera, and Barrett goes to second. And it is 5-3 Red Sox. And what a big run that was. Calvin Schiraldi trying to finish off the Mets and the 1986 baseball season.
And he takes the first step toward doing that as Backman flies softly to Rice in left. 2 outs from the World Championship. The champagne and the Commissioner's Trophy are sitting in the Red Sox clubhouse. Here's Keith Hernandez.
And that's hit to dead center with Henderson going to run it down. And Roger Clemens hoping for that last out. Lined into left field, base hit for Carter, and the Mets are still alive. Carter at first. Curveball, and that's going to be hit to center, base hit. And now suddenly with 2 out in the 10th inning, the tying runs are aboard, and Ray Knight will be the batter. And that's going to be hit into center field, base hit. Here comes Carter to score, and the tying run is at third in Kevin Mitchell. And the Mets refuse to go quietly. With 2 out, they come scrambling back with consecutive hits by Carter, Mitchell, and Knight. And John McNamara goes to the mound. 5-4 Red Sox, and he's also going to the bullpen. He wants Bob Stanley to pitch to Mookie Wilson. You have the tying run 90 feet away in Kevin Mitchell, and the possible winning run at first in Ray Knight. And here's Mookie. and it's going to go to the backstop. Here comes Mitchell to score the tying run, and Ray Knight is at second base. So the winning run is at second base with 2 out, 3-2 to Mookie Wilson. Little roller up along first, behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it. If one picture is worth 1,000 words, you have seen about 1,000,000 words. But more than that, you have seen an absolutely bizarre finish to Game 6 of the 1986 World Series. The Mets are not only alive, they are well, and they will play the Red Sox in Game 7 tomorrow.
But tomorrow brings rain and a postponement, allowing Red Sox manager John McNamara to bump Oil Can Boyd and bring Bruce Hurst back on 3 days rest for the finale Monday night, October 27th. The Mets go with Ron Darling, who has pitched 2 strong games thus far in the series. Top of the second, Dwight Evans, a heavy hitter throughout this 7-game set, steps up.
High drive into deep left center field. That one might go all the way. It is gone. Home run, Dwight Evans.
It was a fastball, and Evans really jumped on it. He was a little bit out in front on that ball he fouled off, but this one, with the swing, he timed it perfectly and drove it a long way.
Dwight Evans' second home run of the series and his 7th run batted in, and it's the Red Sox who score first and lead 1-0.
Next batter, Rich Gedman. He slaps it foul with his stick, leading to some slapstick. But what follows is no laughing matter for Ron Darling.
And that's a drive into right center field. Strawberry going back to the wall. At the wall, leaps in the air. One-hands it. No, he missed it. The right hand of Dale Ford started up and then circled to indicate home run. And Strawberry coming with an inch. It's gone, and the Sox lead 2-0.
We've seen a number of these plays. He gets a glove on it. His glove is over the fence. It looks like he's going to rob Gedman as he finds the fence of the home run. He gets above it. It hits the glove, and then his arm appears to hit the fence. Over it goes. He was looking for it and realizes he doesn't have it. We saw Henderson do that in the playoffs. We saw Dwight Evans do it, and now here's Strawberry.
So it is 2-0 Boston on back-to-back home runs.
Still in the second inning, man at second base, Dave Henderson, and 2 out. And here's Wade Boggs.
And as a hopper by the diving Santana, Mookie's going to come up throwing, but Henderson, because of that big lead, will score easily. And it is 3-0 Boston.
It stays that way for a while, and some Boston rooters begin to believe their Sox can shake off the specter of the loss in Game 6. Hurst fans Tuffle in the 4th. Bruce is masterful into the 6th, looking for his 3rd victory of the series. But with 1 out, Mazzilli grounds a pinch hit to left.
So Mazzilli is trying to do tonight what he did successfully Saturday night as a pinch hitter and ignite his ball club. And Mookie Wilson, the batter. Line drive into left field, base hit. And the Mets are alive with 1 out in the 6th, and Tim Tuffle coming up. And they're all up on a 3-1 count. Ball 4 to load the bases.
Somebody's got to go out and talk to Hurst, if nothing else, to break the mood. Somebody come in and just ask him how everything is.
Johnny Mac.
Yeah, somebody's got to do it.
It's time for the boss to make the visit. Keith Hernandez has lined out to center and flied deep to right. He'll be the hitter. Outfield straight away. Fastball hit into left center field. Base hit. In comes Mazzilli. In comes Wilson. Stopping at third is Tuffle. 3-2 Boston. So there's Wally Backman running for Tuffle. Hernandez at first, and Gary Carter with the tying run 90 feet away. Hit in the air to right field. Here comes Evans. It's gonna be caught. No, he didn't hold it. The run is in. However, Hernandez is tagged out by Spike Owen.
The game is tied, and in the top of the 7th, the Red Sox pinch hit unsuccessfully for Hurst. Now here's the beleaguered Calvin Schiraldi facing Ray Knight in the bottom half.
High drive into deep left center. Back goes Rice. This one is gone.
But the Mets are not finished. They jump on Schiraldi and then Joe Sambito for 2 more in that 7th inning and lead 6-3. Do McNamara's Sox give up? No. Buckner singles, then Rice singles, and it's Evans with 2 on, nobody out.
And that's going to be hit into right center field. That's a base hit. And even Buckner on one leg will score easily. And let's watch Rice. They're going to wave him in. Backman has no play, and the Sox have come back with 2, and the Mets lead is now 6-5.
But then a hardliner by Gedman is caught by Backman at second, and the Red Sox fail to get Evans home. They still trail by 1 as Strawberry leads off against Nipper last of the 8th.
High drive into deep right field. Evans back at the wall. Gone.
The Mets tack on another one in that last half of the eighth and lead 8-5. Jesse Orozco retires the first two Red Sox in the ninth. And now it's Barrett.
Got him.
So here's to the New York Mets, world champions of 1986. But even as we salute them, respect and admiration for the gallant and seemingly always star-crossed Red Sox, who had a similar comeback of their own in the playoffs against the Angels, and who came closer than any team ever has to a world championship without getting it in 1986. That title, that trophy, belongs to the New York Mets.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1986 World Champion